some of these techniques are unbelievably cheap. They work, and they get much better response rate than what you're getting on text message blasts and direct mail for the love of all things holy. Like I said, I could do a 5-day blueprint and show you 198 that didn't work nearly as good as that one does. Because you immediately go, is my neighbor talking about me? Is something wrong with my neighbor? And I use that marketing to scramble your brain to have homeowners call me. I already know that I'm going to get an 18 to 22% response rate. You're doing direct mail, getting a 1% response rate. I'm going to get an 18 to 22% response rate. And by the way, do not lose sight of the fact here as you're listening, that they call me unbelievably fast. I don't have to wait for the mail. I don't have to wait for the post office. They get home, my marketing's in their hand. They're like, I'm winning. My marketing's in their hand. And they call, and here's what we do. And this is what we teach in the blueprint. We don't teach you techniques that win, because I know if you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, that might get me. You're right, that might get me. Well, then I'm on the phone. I already won. That technique cost me 2 cents. Okay. We show you how to have other people put it on the doors for you and stuff like that on day 2 of the blueprint under scaling and leverage and all that stuff. But we also teach you the dynamic of that lead, Nick. So that's why people say, like, this is the most comprehensive thing. When people come to us, they're like, this is the most comprehensive thing I've ever seen in my life. Because we just don't say, do this, we've tested it, we know it wins, and then people go do it. We also teach them the dynamic, because otherwise I feel like I'm doing them a disservice. Example, Nick, you call me, say, hey, I got this note, call me about your neighbor. I'm like, Nick, what address? I put that on 2 houses. 123 Candy Lane. Now I know what lead it is. Hey, Nick, so I talked to one of your neighbors 2 streets over about a house, and they said that your street might be a good street to talk to homeowners about buying their house just the way it sits. I saw your house. I'm interested. Thank you for calling me back. So whether you want to sell it now or 10 years from now, appreciate you calling me back. I would love 10 minutes to see it and leave you with a standing contract. Works like a charm. 2 cents. No budget. Better technique. Because here's what marketing is, and it drives me freaking crazy. And then I'll zip it up on this subject. Well, I'm doing this technique and that technique. Everything that every investor does, every podcast that you listen to, every YouTube channel, people talking about this technique or that. You're talking about getting somebody to respond to you. There's several ways that you can get people to respond. Some of them that if I said on this podcast, people lose their minds. They don't even know it exists. There's things right now, as we're talking, as you hear this, are techniques that we use, that we teach, that you don't even know exists. It's never been on a YouTube channel, never been on any podcast, nothing. That costs 2 or 3 or 4 cents that gets people to respond. Marketing and getting homeowners off-market properties and homeowners and being a solution and making money starts with them getting on the phone with you, right? Or responding to you in some fashion. And some of these techniques are unbelievably cheap. They work. And they get much better response rate than what you're getting on text message blasts and direct mail for the love of all things holy.